If you think your nightly dreams are meaningless, think again. Dream analyst Megan Mary joins us to explain how interpreting your dreams can lead to profound clarity and personal growth. Stay tuned. I am Gloria Grace Rand, founder of The Love Method and author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Live, Love, Engage: How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. In this podcast, we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically, so you can create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage. Namaste. Did you know that your dreams can be a powerful tool for personal growth? Well, if not, stick around because today's guest is going to explain how. I am Gloria Grace, the Light Messenger, and I help female entrepreneurs release negative thought patterns like self-doubt so you can grow a business that aligns with your soul's purpose. And our guest is aligned with me in that as well, although she just goes about it in a different way. Her name is Megan Mary, and she is a dream analyst, intuitive, and author who specializes in analyzing women's dreams to promote transformative personal growth and enlightenment, and empowering women to live more authentic, aligned, and abundant lives. She has founded the Women's Dream Analysis and the Women's Dream Enlightenment podcast. Now, normally our guests join us live, but unfortunately, Megan wasn't able to do that today, but not to worry. She's still going to be here through the wonders of pre-recording. So we recorded the interview earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this, bring her on and get me out of the way, and you'll be able to enjoy our interview. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage, Megan.
Thank you, Grace. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm really so intrigued by what you are going to be sharing with our listeners and viewers today, because I have some interesting dreams sometimes, and so I'm curious to know more about that. But before we really delve into, what you do, I love asking our guests a little bit more about how you got to be where you are today. What was the journey that kind of brought you into, helping women with understanding their dreams, I guess.
Yes. So I was always fascinated by dreams growing up. And I think that I did look into it a little bit as a teenager and as a college age, looked into dream dictionaries and things like that, started reading books about dreams, trying to figure out what they meant, and knew that what I was getting was not quite everything that was out there to know. And so I think that I let them go a little bit in my 30s and just sort of stopped listening to them. And then midway in my life, I ended up really having a lot of medical issues that caused me to decide that I needed to do some real mind, body, spirit healing, not just the body healing part. And I was doing a lot of meditation, and I was asking for that spiritual guidance, and dreams came back in as one of those portals of spiritual intelligence, one of those ways that I really was able to start to receive information that I was seeking. And that really became, for me, almost an emphatic calling at that time to spread that word and to be the catalyst for other women to use their dreams for their own empowerment.
Very cool. I've got so many questions I want to ask. Things are going through my head. And I know one of the things, even when I was introducing this, when I was writing the post for it today, I was doing a little research about dreams, and even just what people what like research has been done about dreams and misconceptions that people have about dreams. So um, let's before we maybe get into all of this, what exactly do you do with clients? How do you help them understand their dreams? Because dreams, seem like a personal type of thing. So what do you do, and how do you analyze them, I guess?
Mm-hmm. The way that I work with dreams is very much like the way a transformational life coach would work with you, in terms of using dreams as a doorway to your subconscious and using the stories that come through your dreams to help you better understand yourself. So, whatever your preconceptions are, your blockages, whatever you have brought into this world, your behavior patterns, and also your hopes and dreams, your aspirations, your talents, all of those things are reflected in your dreams. And when you're able to connect with them and understand your dream language, then you're actually able to connect with your higher self, to connect with your greater purpose, to understand why you're here and how things could be different in your trajectory, in your life. So it's very much a self development methodology, as much as it also is a creativity catalyst and a modality for healing.
Hmm. And what something just occurred to me, because I know I think I've read this or maybe talked to other people. There's like websites online where they say, oh, figure out your dreams. Here's the symbolism of, like, water. Water means something. If you experience this, or if you're on an airplane, it means something like this. Do you find there's any credence to that, or is it really more unique to each person?
I feel that it is very unique to each dreamer. And I have a blog post where I talk about breaking up with your dream dictionary, because I really feel that when we look to the dream dictionary, we're getting a generic meaning that is not coming from our subconscious. It may be a culturally held generic meaning. It may be a historic or a mythological meaning, but it is not necessarily the meaning for us, because our dreams are comprised of everything we've ever experienced, and our experience is unique to each and every one of us. So I put in high esteem the dreamer's experience and the dreamer's associations. So rather than put the meaning on the dream, I work with the dreamer to pull out their own personal subconscious associations, so that they can start to decode their own dream language and understand that that water or that airplane or whatever it might be for them is completely different, even between two people.
Hmm. I've, I'm thinking now as well, then, do you rely on your own intuition, or is it sort of I guess maybe in conversation with a client then, and helping them to kind of figure out, as you say, that because it is unique to each person. Um, what do you think about that? Is it a little bit of both, or
It is. It
yeah?
is both, because I am an intuitive, and so we're dealing with something that is a little otherworldly here. So
Mm.
dreams are definitely a different, beyond space and time. They're not in this 3D reality, and so it's difficult, even for people who are very skilled at this, to bring those elements of the dream into this level of consciousness. And that's because of the alteration in brainwave states that happen from when we're sleeping to when we're awake. And so it's both, because I'm asking a series of questions and I'm discussing the dream content with the dreamer, but I'm also listening and watching and feeling and all those other senses that are beyond our five regular senses to really understand what else is going on energetically in the dream.
Hmm. And what do you say to people who say that I can never remember my dreams, or I don't even dream? Do you ever run into that
Yes.
with someone?
Yes, and when I first started, I was actually surprised how often I ran into that because I
Mm.
have extremely high dream recall. I recall dreams probably every night and sometimes multiple or all of them. And so I was really surprised at the beginning that people would say that. But then I remembered that there was a period during which I was not remembering them. And over my research, I've discovered that there's different ways that can happen. And sometimes we do subconsciously turn off our dream recall because we're not ready to receive the information that's coming through in the dream. And so we choose not to listen. And the less we listen, the quieter that inner voice gets.
That makes so much sense. That really does, because I can, you know, just I can see that, because sometimes we don't want to hear stuff, and that we know that we probably should be paying attention to. Um, when people come to you for help, what are they looking for? Are they just looking for guidance in a particular area? What do you find that there's like maybe some common themes?
Yes, there definitely are different themes, such as that they're just at a crossroads, right?
Mm.
So they're experiencing a major shift in their life. Maybe they're changing their relationships, or they're changing their career, or they're changing their whole life, where they're living or how they're perceiving of themselves. And they're ready to take that next step, but they're not sure what direction that step is in. Also, people come to me with different nightmares or recurring dreams that they've
Mm.
had or are having that they really want to get to the bottom of. They understand that there's something trying to be communicated, or they're distraught by their presence and they really would like them to go away, and would like to know how that can happen. And so that's another reason. Also, basically, creativity is one of those other reasons, because people don't seem to realize that dreams can be such a source of creativity. So many famous artists and writers and inventors throughout history have used the different brainwave states and the dream state as inspiration to come up with fabulous, unique ideas and inventions. And so people that are in that space recognize that and want to know how to harness that. Or when they find out that that's a possibility, they want to know how that's possible. And then also there's the healing aspect, of course. And there's so many ways that dreams can be our own self-healing, the ultimate self-care.
Hmm. Can you share an example of that?
If you have a recurring dream, for example, and it's something that might, as they do, change over the course of time, but there's always this recurring theme. There's always a certain scenario that plays out, even though the rest of it might be different. Many times, this is because there's a message in that recurring theme that you're not consciously acknowledging. And so your subconscious keeps trying to rearrange the puzzle pieces and give it to you in a different story to see if maybe you'll get it this time. And so that's where we can look at the patterns and we can try to decode, okay, what is that recurring theme? What is that recurring message? And how can we take action on that in our waking life so that this dream dissipates because we've received the message and we're transforming it into real action in our lives?
Hmm. And you mentioned earlier, you said that sometimes people come to you because they're having nightmares, or they're having, something that's, let's say, stressing them out at night when they're waking up stressed instead of, refreshed after a good night's sleep. How can dreams help, or the work that you're doing, how can you help someone be able to do that?
Yes,
to
because
overcome it.
similar to recurring dreams, nightmares are really just the peak of that emotional context. So dreams at their core are very emotional because of the way our brain processes dreams. And when we're asleep, our logical brain is turned off, but our emotional portion of our processing brain is in full activation as if we were awake. And so that's why we perceive them on an emotional basis like they are really happening. And nightmares are the full blown version of that. And so when we have a nightmare, it very much is something that is waving a red flag. It's calling its attention to something that really needs to be brought to the surface that we want to either heal or address or transform into something else. And so there's opportunities, especially through lucid dreaming techniques, to transform the storyline of a nightmare. And so you can use visualization in your waking state to re enter that scenario of the nightmare, but create an alternate ending of your choosing, kind of like a choose your own adventure book. And that suggestion to your subconscious in itself can be the catalyst for that healing.
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't know there's so many, different ways to be able to look at dreams. And I know I was going to ask you this earlier because when you were talking, and then I got sidetracked. So I'm going to ask you now because I know this is something that have I don't want to say struggled with, but I've I want to be able to remember some of my dreams, but I don't always, unless it's like something that's really vivid when I wake up in the morning, or that was just something that was very like really curious, and so it's like, okay, I'll write that one down. So if someone is listening to this today and they want to know, well, I'd like to be able to know more about my dreams. What do you recommend to someone to do?
So start keeping a dream journal. And at first, it might just be a journal. That's always a good thing. And start keeping the habit of journaling. Then keep it by your bed so that if you do wake up in the middle of the night or when you wake up in the morning, you'll have a chance to record it because you're going to forget 50% of your dream within the first 5 minutes. So don't expect that you're going to remember it and try to get into the habit of recording it. Before you even do that, though, what I usually suggest to people is to create a habit of pausing. So when you first wake up, before you get up, before you reach for your phone, before you start thinking about your day, be still, almost as if a meditative state, and think backwards to where you just were, who you were just talking to, what you were just doing. Give yourself a moment and create that habit of reflecting upon the dream, because when you avert your attention from what is about to happen in your day to what just happened, and you start to create a habit of that, you will start to be able to remember more and more of the dream.
Very cool. Yeah, I do have a journal by my bed, and I do try to do that, but some days are better than others. But
Sure.
I guess where I'm in the mood to do it, and
Yeah.
other times it's just like I just want to get on with my day. I'm
Yep.
not going to worry about it. But yeah, do you think it's a and this, I know I was starting to do this for a little while, especially because I kind of go through runs where I would, maybe remember them for a little while and then not. Uh, do you recommend that someone like, put today's date on it, or maybe do that afterwards? Probably not do the date right at the beginning because then you're going to forget the dream. But is it a good idea to kind of see? Does that help you then in working with a client?
Definitely, it's good for your own purposes to record the date when you can, and I also like to encourage people to record other things as well. So part of my method is that I encourage people to record their mood, because it's very important to know the the mood that you experienced during the dream, but also the mood that you went to sleep in, as well as how you felt when you woke up. So all of those things can give us information about the context of the dream. And for women, our estrogen and our hormone levels really can affect our dream recall. So I find it interesting to track that as well as the moon phases. There's a lot of different things that you can layer on to your dream journal the more you get into it and the more that you start writing down the details.
Well, that is very cool to know. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but it does make sense. And because I've been in like even bookstores and I've seen like moon journals specifically, that you can track how you feel during different phases of the moon because we are affected by that. But I like that idea of being able to kind of put it all together. I think that really helps you put, well, you're kind of being your own detective, I guess, putting all these different clues together, right?
Yes, I really like that. As a mystery author, I really like that.
Yeah. Well, and good segue. Very good. Yeah, I did want to ask you a little bit about that because of the many things that you do, that I've mentioned during the intro today, that one of the things you've done is you're delving into fiction writing. So can you share with our audience a little bit about, because I think you've got a book coming out this fall. So
Yes.
share a little bit of what it is and also what prompted you to start writing it.
Yes. So, of course, a dream was how I was inspired and where it started. And it started 10 years ago, actually. And it started as quite a different story than it turned out to be when I picked it up again last year. But the book is called The Dream Haunters, A Metaphysical Mystery of Magic. And it is coming out in October 2024. And it is a very wonderful story that follows a young woman's search of meaning. She really is discovering herself while she is trying to unravel the mystery of her missing eccentric aunt. And she has the help of spirit cats and other guides. And it's all set at Halloween, which is why the book is not coming out until October. And it's very much a spiritual and a metaphysical story as it is a mystery.
Well, that sounds very cool. And I presume you'll have it up for sale on all the major platforms where people can find books and probably on your website, I would imagine, as well.
Yes, as soon as the leaves start to fall, it'll be available.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I think I'm going to ask you this. What is a commonly held belief about dreams that you passionately disagree with?
Yes, that would be that they don't mean anything and that they should be ignored, that perhaps they're just regurgitations of our day, maybe that they're just nonsensical or things to be embarrassed about or to hide or to feel ashamed about sharing. All of those things are common misconceptions that I think keep us from our inner truth, because our intuition really lies latent in those puzzles from our subconscious. And we need to cultivate a culture of dream appreciation where it's part of our societal knowledge, that it's part of our self wisdom, and that it's something that we value as a tool for personal growth as opposed to dismissing it.
Why do you think it has been dismissed? And I'm kind of I'm almost wondering if maybe it's because of you know. And this might be, again, just culture, but, Sigmund Freud was always about, like dreams and things. And I wonder if that wound up actually turning people off of it. Do you have any theories on why people kind of downplay them?
I think that there was a lot of value in the initial forefathers and especially the Jungian perspective, because he really was trying to see the symbology in dreams, and he really was the one who kind of came up with the idea of synchronicities. So I feel that that's valuable, but I think that aside from that portion of society where it's acknowledged in psychoanalytic practice, that it's not part of our daily practice. And there is actually a psychoanalyst that was the one of the founding members of the International Association for the Study of Dreams, and he called himself a recovering psychoanalyst because he was the one who coined the term dream appreciation. And he really felt, Montague Ullman was his name, that dreams really should be part of our culture in the way that they are in some other countries, but not in most Western culture. So we're not taught it in school. We're not taught it by our parents or in our homes. We're not really taught what to do with them. And so we start to internalize and shove it down and feel embarrassed about it and start to ignore them.
Yeah, and that's a shame too, because as you say, I do think that there's a lot of wisdom there that we can gain because our brains aren't shutting off at night just because we go to sleep. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and why not use that information and try to figure out how it can help you in your daily life. As I say, some of mine are very interesting, and I have noticed, like, over the years that I wish I'd known you sooner, because I could have been able to call you and say, hey, can you help me explain this? Because I know for a while I had ones where I would be actually driving somewhere, and then suddenly, like, the road was all flooded out. So I had variations of that a few times, especially, like, I live in Florida, so sometimes it would be driving, like, I don't know, in the Keys or on Miami Beach or something, and suddenly, it's like the waves have covered the road, and yet we're still getting through it eventually. But it's interesting that you have, things like that. And I wasn't really recording them at the time, but I just know that they've still sort of, I still do remember that little bit of it.
And there's two good things there. One is that you're driving, because in so many dreams, people will have forgotten their keys. They can't find their car. They get in the car, but they can't start it, or it's running, but they can't control the steering wheel, all of those things. So you being in the driver's seat and actually controlling the car is actually a good sign. And also the fact that you say you always get through it. That's also a good sign.
That's good to know. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't remember ever, like, just floating away somewhere or being submerged. So that's good. So, is there anything else that I should have asked you about in regards to this that we haven't brought up? Anything else in particular?
I want to talk about the concept of dream empowerment a little bit more, because I work with women to try to empower them, but in the sense that I feel that authenticity is really one of the keys to raising our vibration and to coming into alignment with our higher purpose. And so when I speak about dream empowerment, one of the 3 pillars that I'm talking about is really allowing women to connect with their authentic self. And the authentic self is what is expressed in the dream stories, because your subconscious knows how you really feel about things, what you've really experienced, but your waking mind is trying to rationalize and trying to close off certain parts and trying to protect you and trying to explain away things. And so it's important to connect with your authentic self, because when you do, that's when you start to come into that alignment. And when we come into that alignment, that's how we open up the gates of abundance. And that's not just financial abundance, that can be wealth and health and an understanding of a way of living that is more of higher intelligence and of higher consciousness and of higher understanding.
Yeah. And that's so important. I resonate with that 100%, because that's definitely something that I do in helping my clients as well. Just coming about it from a different vantage point, because we all have different tools and in our metaphysical tool belt that we can use. So I love that. I'm going to throw a curveball question at you, because I like to ask my guests this. So what are you curious about right now?
I'm curious about parapsychology and really psi science in terms of PSI, dream science. That's something that's piqued my interest. I feel that dreams are not just, like I said, a regurgitation of our day. I feel that they are an interdimensional portal. And so the concept of time travel and alternative realities and past lives and all those kind of things has always really fascinated me. And so I like to see that intersection of quantum physics and dream science and see where that can lead.
I love that, because I was almost going to ask you about that, because I've heard that as well, is that sometimes that our dreams could be, like another. We're living in a different dimension or something. And we're experiencing life in another dimension. So that's cool. I might have to do some research on that myself, because
Yes.
I'm very fascinated with quantum science, quantum, mechanics, quantum energy, all of anything having to do with that, because we're just so barely scratching the surface at the amazing things that are possible that we're just starting to learn about. So it's very cool.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Well, I want to also give you an opportunity to share with our audience how they can get in touch with you, because I'm sure that people have been very interested in what you had to say and going, okay, I need Megan's help to figure out my dreams. So what's the best place for people to get in touch with you?
Yes, so you can find me at meganmary.com, and on there you'll find my online dream courses, how you can work with me, and you can also find me on all different socials. I'm very active on YouTube and Twitter. I'm also on TikTok a little bit and Pinterest. So check me out there as well, and sign up for my newsletter, where you'll get a free dream mirror journal template, which will get you started using my method and recording your dreams. And eventually, after I publish my novel, I will probably release a companion dream journal as well.
Very cool. All right. Well, we'll be sure and watch for that. And I look forward to, to the novel, because I love reading fiction that has sort of a spiritual bent to it and things like that. So I will definitely have to pick up your book once it comes out, because it sounds very cool, and it's got cats in it, and I'm a cat fan. So
Yes.
There we go. Well, this has been wonderful, and it's gone by really fast. And any last words? I'll give you one more chance to have any last piece of advice, or for anyone wanting to know more about their dreams.
Listen to your dreams. Give yourself a chance to start opening that door, because when you do, the more you listen, the louder that voice gets.
All right. Awesome. Well, there you heard it. So pay attention to it, folks. I'm really glad that we had a chance to have you on the show today, and I wish you much success, and especially with the book and everything.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you for having me.
And I do want to thank all of you for listening and for watching today. And I encourage you to stay tuned for our next episodes. We come out every week, and I'll have another fabulous guest next week. Her name is escaping me at the moment, but it's going to be good. Trust me. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast already, make sure that you do that. We are available on all the major platforms like Apple and Spotify, etc., and as well on YouTube. You can subscribe. And until next time, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.